You ever seen a car signaling left, but it never turns? That's what caught my eye that night. A black Chevy Impala sat idle on the shoulder of Route 16, just beyond the old flour mill. Its left turn signal blinked. Slow, steady, like it was trying to say something. But the car was dead silent. Engine off, driver's door slightly ajar. The soft, amber light of the signal pulsed like a heartbeat that didn't know it had already stopped. I pulled over. Don't ask me why. Maybe it was instinct. Maybe guilt. Maybe something older than either. The driver was slumped forward, hands still on the wheel, eyes open, dead. And I knew that face instantly. Officer Michael Reese. Retired just last year after 30 years on the force. Honest, solid, clean record. But 2 nights ago, he left me a voicemail. Sam, they're on to me. I have to tell you something. About the Monroe case, about what we buried. That was the last I heard from him. And now, here he was, sitting behind the wheel, frozen in a turn he never got to make. No tire marks, no gunshot wounds, no blood, just the turn signal. Click, click. And on the passenger seat, a folded paper highway map with a red circle around a location that didn't exist on any GPS I've ever seen. That's when it hit me. This wasn't just a death. It was a message, and someone wanted me to follow that blinking signal. My headlights were still casting their pale glow over Michael Reese's Impala, and the turn signal kept ticking, like time had paused on a single moment. One signal that was never completed. I didn't call 911, not yet. Instead, I looked at the map. It was old school, printed on crinkled paper like something from the 90s. A red marker circled a spot in northeastern Vermont. A forested area called Elk Hollow. Elk Hollow. Never heard of it. And I've heard of everything. As an investigative reporter, my job is to uncover what others forget or hide. But this name, it wasn't on any GPS. On the map, it was just green. No roads, no towns. And yet, that was the spot Michael had circled. Like the next chapter of a story buried long ago. Why did Michael die? Or was he killed? Why was he talking about the Monroe case? That case was 5 years old. A seemingly routine hit and run. A young woman named Claire Monroe had driven off the road and slammed into a tree late one night. No signs of foul play. Police called it a tragic accident, but her mother insisted otherwise. Said Claire had been followed, pushed, hunted. The department shut it all down. Evidence vanished. Reports got blurry. And then silence. And now, Michael's final words. We buried something. What? With whom? Where? I opened the glove compartment. Only one item inside. A keychain. Etched with a number, 2137. A badge number, locker, hotel room. Then it hit me. When the Monroe case was closed, Michael and 2 other officers, Deputy Sloan and Sergeant Walker, abruptly took a 2-day leave. When they came back, they never mentioned the case again. Maybe they knew something. Maybe they buried it. Literally. And now, Michael was dead. I made a decision. I had to go to Elk Hollow. 3 days later, the cold wind of Vermont whispered through endless pine trees. I was driving my SUV north toward whatever remained of Elk Hollow, if anything did. No signal. GPS dead. The road, barely more than a dirt path. On either side, dense forest closed in. Then I saw it. A warped old sign nailed to a tree. Private property, no entry. Handwritten underneath. Trespassers will vanish. I chuckled. Only half. I killed the engine and started walking. The silence in the woods was thick, so deep I could hear the crunch of my own boots, like someone else's steps beside me. Each step came with a growing pulse. Maybe fear, maybe that old reporter's buzz when a story gets too close to the truth. Then I saw it, an old cabin, wooden, decayed, like it had been abandoned for years, but the door freshly painted. Inside, a faint light glowed. I pushed the door open. Inside, one table, one tape recorder, an old model, the kind you only see in conspiracy documentaries. It was already playing. Michael's voice. If you're hearing this, Sam, it means I'm dead. Sloan and Walker couldn't be trusted. We shouldn't have buried it. She was alive, Sam. She was alive. The tape clicked off. My hands were shaking. Alive? Who? Claire Monroe? Then I heard something. Footsteps at the back of the cabin, and the door slammed shut behind me. The The door slammed behind me, and for a heartbeat, my breath stopped. The light inside the cabin dimmed, not like someone turned a switch, but like something sucked the life out of the room. I turned sharply, nothing behind me, but then came the footsteps again, soft, deliberate, like bare feet moving across old wood. I clenched the tape recorder, as if it were a weapon. "Who's there?" I called out. My voice sounded foreign, weaker than I liked. No response, just the faint sound of breathing, close. Too close. I turned again. Still, no one. But on the floor, a faint trail in the dust, a dragging line. Fresh, like someone had pulled something heavy through here, or someone. I scanned the cabin, a weathered cabinet, a single empty chair, and then I noticed the floor beneath the table, disturbed soil like someone had been digging recently. I opened the cabinet door, empty, except for one item, a faded police jacket, badge number stitched into the collar. Number 2137, the same number from Michael's keychain. Inside the inner pocket, I found a folded scrap of paper. Just 2 words, "She remembers." That's when I heard it again, a car door, outside. I rushed to the small window, just in time to see a tall man in black approaching my SUV. He didn't look at the cabin, just placed something in the back seat and turned away, walking calmly into the woods. I waited. Then, heart pounding, I ran to the car. Inside the back seat, a large brown envelope. Inside the envelope, photographs. Claire Monroe, but not the ones the media used. These were personal, intimate. Her room, her car, her face in the rearview mirror. And then one photo made my knees go weak. Claire, alive, standing outside a dark military-style tent. Behind her, stenciled letters read, "Property of Sloan Hunting Co. Deputy Sloan." Was Claire taken by him? Hidden? Or was she never dead to begin with? My phone buzzed. An unknown number. I hesitated, then answered. A woman's voice, soft, trembling. "Sam, if you're hearing this, please stop. The truth you're chasing, it'll destroy you." "Claire?" I asked, barely breathing. Silence. Then, "They killed Michael. They'll kill me too." The line went dead. This was no longer a cold case. This was still happening. Claire Monroe was alive, and someone, or everyone, wanted her gone. The next day, I drove straight to the Sloan Hunting Company's registry office. A part-time clerk named Todd let me look at archived permits and land records. As he handed me an old file, he whispered, "That place up north? Sloan's had it locked down for nearly a decade. Locals say people go hunting up there, but some never come back." I opened the folder. Old land acquisitions, private clearance licenses, encrypted building codes. Then I found a red folder marked, "Restricted access for S. Sloan only." I opened it. Inside, photos. Claire again, but not outside, inside a facility. Strapped to a hospital bed, bandages on her arms, a blindfold. A tag at the bottom of one photo read, "Subject 6A, Behavioral Isolation, Phase 3. I felt sick. What was this? An experiment? A government program? Just then, I heard the door open behind me. Sloan, Deputy Sloan, calm, clean-shaven, wearing a badge like it still meant something. "You're close, Sam," he said. "Where's Claire?" I demanded. He smiled, a flat, dead thing. "Claire, she was a project, a test subject. She was never supposed to last this long. She was a person," I snapped. "She was a risk," he said coldly, and Michael got soft. He stepped forward, then reached into his pocket. He held up a small object, a turn signal bulb, the same one from Michael's Impala. Sloan stood in front of me, holding that turn signal bulb, like a hunter showing off a trophy. "You think the truth makes you safe?" he said quietly, as if talking to a slow child. "Where's Claire?" I asked again, this time with a tremor in my voice. He tossed the bulb at me. I caught it instinctively. He laughed. Cold and casual. "You were out of the game too long, Sam. This started years ago." "What started? What game?" I was losing patience and control. Sloan walked to a cabinet, pulled out a thick folder, and threw it onto the table. On its cover was a photo. A young Claire Monroe, maybe 10 years old. "This isn't about one girl," Sloan said. "It's about the children we lost in the system. The ones no one adopted. The ones the government marked for something else." My throat dried. "You mean Claire?" "She was part of a program, 10+, a behavior modification trial for high-risk adolescents, government-backed. completely off the books. My knees felt weak. You and Michael helped bury her. We didn't bury her, Sloan said. We hid her. When the program started failing, when Claire started coming back different, we decided it was safer to declare her dead. And she survived? I asked. Sloan looked away for a second, a flicker of something. Maybe guilt, maybe fear? Yes. Michael smuggled her out, with help, a nurse, someone who still had a soul. I remembered Michael's words. She was alive, Sam. She was alive. I stared at Sloan. She's out there, and she remembers. Sloan was quiet. Then he said, we don't know where she is. The last person to see her was Michael. She stayed hidden in Elk Hollow for a while, but then vanished, off-grid. Maybe for good. I walked out of that building in a daze. Claire Monroe, Emily Reese, a child sacrificed for science, a daughter hidden to protect her from those who called her property. Michael had tried to save her, and maybe I had betrayed them both by taking too long to believe. 2 days later, I visited Boston's old foster care records facility. I requested Claire Monroe's original file. The clerk brought me a dusty folder. Inside were records, photos, and one detail that broke me open. Claire Monroe's birth name, Emily Reese, Michael's adopted daughter. Everything snapped into place. This wasn't just about justice. This was about redemption. Michael hadn't just hidden her. He'd loved her. He'd raised her, and when she was being hunted, he gave up everything to keep her alive. And now she was gone again. But before I could leave, my phone buzzed. A video from an unknown number. I opened it. Claire, or Emily, stared straight into the camera. Behind her, a dim cabin interior. Hi, Sam. Don't come looking for me. Don't dig deeper. You already know enough. You did your part. Let them answer for what they did. I forgive you. The screen went black. I sat frozen. Then, slowly, I powered down my phone. After the video, I didn't do anything for days. Claire, or Emily Reese, had spoken her truth and disappeared again. But she left behind something that echoed inside me, like that old turn signal, soft, steady, unrelenting. I drove to Michael's house. The place was abandoned now, quiet, heavy. His scent still clung to the walls, tobacco, old books, and something like regret. In his study, I found a small leather-bound journal tucked inside a drawer. One line repeated across several pages. What we bury never stays buried. I sat with that line until it sank into my bones. This wasn't just Claire's story anymore. It was mine too. 1 week later, I compiled everything. The recordings, the photographs, the redacted files, Claire's video, Sloan's confessions, the badge numbers, the Elk Hollow property maps, a full investigative expose. I prepared it for submission to my news outlet. That evening, I got a call. Block number. This is Mr. Whitaker, the voice asked. Clipped and cold. Yes, this is Homeland Security. We are en route to your location with a federal order. The material in your possession is classified. Do not share it with any media outlets. The line went dead. My hands trembled. They knew, and they wanted to bury it again. I had to make a choice, so I called the one person I trusted beyond the system. Laura Kessler, a rogue journalist known for publishing what others feared to whisper. She'd once exposed an oil cover-up and vanished from cable news. She lived online now, feeding the truth into anonymous veins. I sent her everything, told her if anything happened to me, publish it. Then I disappeared. 3 months later, the world woke up to a headline. The girl who never died. It was everywhere. The 10+ program, a behavioral experiment on foster children. The falsified deaths, the forced isolation, government approval. And the survivors. Sloan was arrested. Sergeant Walker vanished. And Claire, no one knew. But now, the world did. And that was enough. Today, I'm back on Route 16, right where Michael's Impala was found. Same road, same silence, but no blinking light this time. Just the long curve of highway fading into dusk. I hold a letter in my hand, written but never sent. To Claire, wherever you are, I'm sorry. You weren't a subject. You were a daughter, a voice, a soul. What they did to you can't be undone. But now the world sees you, hears you, remembers you. Michael saved you. I tried to save the truth. Your turn signal showed me the road. Now, I'm turning it off. I burned the letter. Let the ashes drift into the wind. Then I started my car. The engine hummed to life, and strangely, the turn signal blinked on its own. Left. Same direction Michael was facing on the night he died. I smiled. Guess we're turning after all, Mike. And I drove into the twilight toward a new direction.